Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Katie.
Rebel Therapy Podcast, episode 12. We
Yes.
had a whole list of things that we were going to talk about today. We had our show notes planned and everything ready to go. But in true Gestalt style, and just for a reminder for everybody, Gestalt is the type of therapy that Michelle and I practice. We are really focused on what happens in the moment. So the whole idea is to be spontaneous and authentic with what you're actually experiencing. And so despite all of our best efforts, all I'm feeling is overwhelm. So I guess that's what we're going to talk about today.
We sure are. Let's dive right in.
As you and I were talking about earlier, I'm fairly certain I am not the only person experiencing overwhelm. What do you think?
No, there's
No way.
with the state of the world, just being a human right now, existing, I think there's a lot of things to feel overwhelmed about. I don't think you're alone. It's a very human experience to have that, right? Where like a lot of different aspects pile up and then it's just like descends on you.
So, maybe, from a Gestalt perspective, it might be helpful to talk about sort of what overwhelm feels like, maybe give it a bit of a description so people know. For you, when you feel overwhelmed, what's that experience like for you?
I have a million different thoughts kind of going in different directions, but they don't feel like they have any grounding. They're
Yep.
very fast and ethereal. And I feel like I can't catch any of them. I'm like,
Mhm.
I can't even keep track of them. I feel a general tightness in my body. Like I am ready to run, but I can't run. And I want to run, but I can't run. I think sometimes I will get some tightness in my chest. It's like part of me wants to cry because it's too much? How about for you?
Some similarity for sure. The tension in particular, like the sort of rigidity, I feel like I'm a kid who's being forced to sit still, even though I'm obviously not a kid and I'm in charge of myself and I can do what I want. But the other thing too is like there's this restlessness, and I will try all the things. I go to the gym like I always do, and I eat good food like I always do. I try to sleep like I always do. I do all the things and it doesn't work. I still feel whatever this is. I don't know what that is, but that's what overwhelm feels like to me. So there's like a pushing, but a stuckness and like an urgency. And it's like a little tornado in my head. And to your point, I think for me, it's not even really specific thoughts. There's not a litany of things that I'm worrying about. It just feels like noise. There's noise and I can't shut it up.
Like the idea of gripping.
Yeah.
It's like you're stuck in cement or something or in mud.
And it's just, I think another way to say it is like there's just no relief. And yet at the same time, if I look at my actual life, there's nothing really wrong. Everything is fine. I think part of the process for me is to take a bit of an inventory, take a step back and go, okay, what's happening? Where am I stuck? And if I'm stuck in these different places, what can I do to get unstuck? And then for me specifically, when it comes to overwhelm, I think what tends to happen is I look at the choices that I'm making and I go, nope, still like that one. Yep, still like that one. Yep, that process is still what I want. So I'm doing what I want. Like I'm creating the life that I want. And yet I still feel, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, like there's just this, I'm just not happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to be and I should be, but yeah, I don't feel nourished. So it's like I'm eating a bunch of fast food and it's keeping me alive, but I just don't feel nourished. Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, for sure. I think when you get into a state of overwhelm, you can be triggered into that survival state, right? Of just keep it moving, do what you have to do, check all the boxes of doing all the things you're supposed to do, and that'll fix it? But really, you're not hitting any depth with any of those things. You're just skimming the surface. So, like you said, it's not penetrating very far. You don't feel like you're
Perfect.
getting what you need. And if you go on like that for too long, then it's like, why am I even doing this? What is the purpose?
When this is the life that you've designed for yourself, or at least in my case, I feel very lucky to have exactly the life that I've designed. And I do love it. I do, right? These things that I'm doing, I love. I love the work that we're doing together, everything else. And yet there are moments where it still feels like it's not enough. Then I think I have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and not change what I'm doing or where I'm going, but really change my focus. So it's not about deep therapy. It's not about deep healing by any means. I am sort of spinning my wheels. I can keep spinning, or I can shift my focus to something else.
Like what we were talking about before, there's not one thing you can pick or highlight that's going to help this feeling. It's like there's a shift of focus that needs to happen as opposed to a shift of what you're doing.
That's right. Because after I do this kind of inventory and I look at the state of my life, there is nothing that needs to change because I am on track, or I believe in this moment, given the information that I have, I believe that I'm still on track, and yet I'm not feeling nourished or movement or whatever. So, to your point, it's not about changing stuff, it's about doing something else.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, the only thing that works every time, I would argue, is shifting my focus from myself to someone else and acts of service. Literally doing something for somebody else, preferably somebody who's vulnerable or who really needs it. Like in my case, it's volunteering with youth. I love doing that. And just being helpful to someone else means that I don't think about myself, which is kind of nice. And just the not thinking about myself, given that everything is fine, it's under control, but the not thinking about myself, the shifting my focus from myself to that other person is the thing that gives me the most relief.
Yeah. I think that that's similar for me, where it's like if I'm stuck in this kind of rut, like just stuck in my own muck, allowing somebody else to matter, allowing something else to matter, to show up in a way that's meaningful for them, takes that energy that I'm grinding with and puts it somewhere into the world that feels like it is helpful or useful. When I feel overwhelmed, it's like I don't want any connection with the world anymore. Like everything feels like too much. I don't want to talk
Mhm.
to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go outside. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of
Yep.
no's and blocking out. So that shifting of focus to service reconnects me to the world, or at
Yes.
least to one person or one act.
Right. That's right.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, I matter because I matter in relationship to this person. I'm helping them and it's giving them something from me.
I love that so much. And one of the things I really love about what you just said, I think you've pinpointed it. I think maybe why this works is because you're moving from a solo experience. If I'm stuck in my own muck, I'm inside myself, which means probably I am not actually in relation to anyone else. I've lost the ability in that moment to do that, or I've forgotten about it. An act of service where I'm actually maybe in someone else's muck with them, maybe it's as simple as that, right? Means that I have now been able to connect with another human, thereby making my own experience much more relational. And I think as human beings, that's what we need above all things, to be in relation. And it means different things at different times. A meaningful existence has to be in relation with others, community, other people. If I spend too much time worrying about myself, I lose the thread. And
For
I'm just off
sure.
here in my own little silos spinning out. And I have to
Yeah.
come back and be like, hold on, if I connect with this other human, I don't think about myself. It's amazing. We can have a completely different, much richer experience.
The kind of, what do you call it, like unexpected bonus of it is like when you give to somebody else and it feels helpful to them, you actually
Mhm.
get something out of it, especially when it's offered with no strings attached and genuine, and it feels like something they need. It gives you a sense of fulfillment.
Which is kind of the nice to have. I mean, I would argue the connection with the person and actually helping them is the most important piece. Coming back into relationality is really important, but then also you end up feeling good about yourself, which is nice. It's win-win for everyone. It feels like the reset that I can't get by myself. I can do all this work and shift things and make different decisions and adjust my direction or whatever. But really, if all of that is just mine, I need the connection with someone else to do a true reset, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we're social creatures, right? And I think the culture we live in, and the structure, not to get too political, but just the structure of capitalism, where it's like very individualistic and it's kind of drilled into you, like you have to do this for yourself, or you have to accomplish this, or this is yours, or like you said, that kind of siloing.
Yeah.
And then to actually touch out to someone else's silo and be like, maybe we should
Maybe.
be connected. Maybe that matters more.
Yeah. And I think that it's easy, especially in terms of social media and the amount of information that we are inundated with. I am absolutely guilty of, watching the news and being on top of things. It feels important to me. I feel like I need to be a good global citizen, be informed and be aware and all the rest of that. And I do think that's important. And I'm not going to stop doing that. But at the same time, there is no relationality there. I am not interacting with these people. I'm interacting with a screen. which is
Yeah.
not relational. That's still just me screaming in my own head. And that's not really very helpful, as opposed to connecting with another person and maybe talking about some of these things. It doesn't even have to be face to face, but being able to see another human and talk to them and interact, as opposed to being the star of my own show constantly. I need to step into someone else's movie a little bit and hopefully be useful in some way.
That goes to the heart of the therapy that we do, which is
Yeah.
relational. The healing is in the relationship and the
Yeah,
connection.
not in the advice and the telling what to do or the storytelling. It is in the relational connection or the contact, as we say in Gestalt therapy.
Human to human.
Really that simple. And yet we forget. Sometimes I forget. So interestingly, as we come to the end of this episode, I'm feeling less overwhelmed, which is lovely. So thank you for that, Michelle.
You're welcome. I'm glad.
And anybody who's watching, what do you guys think about overwhelm? Does any of this resonate with you? Is this something that you find you're struggling with? What works for you? How do you feel? We'd love to get any feedback. Also, like and subscribe if you like our content.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe even sort of talk about what gets you out of your overwhelm. Like how do you find service or connection? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Till next time. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.